Yo, what up everybody, welcome back to the channel, back here bringing a video. Today's is going to be a review of a show, and tonight was Monday Night Raw, or I guess it was yesterday technically because of editing and stuff. But yeah guys, so Monday Night Raw, we haven't done a Raw and SmackDown review in like a month or so, it's been a while. Mostly because I record them after the show, so that way they're up like in the next day, like in the morning-ish, not like before the next episode. So just with that said, I always recorded them pretty late at night, and I was always out of energy from watching the show, and the quality of the video just wasn't very good. My voice was very tired, and I really had no energy to edit the videos. Hopefully I'm able to change that because now I'm on like summer vacation and stuff, and hopefully we can be doing better with the not sounding tired. I drank vitamin water, so hopefully I can like stay somewhat awake for this. But today, Monday Night Raw, last night was June 25th, 2018. It was live in San Diego, California. With that said, let's get right into the review. The show opened with Raw GM Kurt Angle in the ring and Stephanie McMahon's right-hand man, Constable Corbin, in the ring, and Baron Corbin had a bit of like a argument type of thing with JoJo. She had to introduce him multiple times because he didn't like the way she was announcing him. He wanted to be called Constable Corbin, and she was not calling him that. But like before Kurt Angle could actually start talking, he was interrupted by Roman Reigns. And then before any of them could say anything, they were interrupted by Bobby and Lashley, and Roman Reigns just started arguing in the ring. And then finally, once Kurt Angle had a break in between them arguing, he blurted out that Brock isn't going to have the huge multi-man match at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view that we were all expecting. So huge bombshell, and now that leaves both men's schedule open, and Roman Reigns ends up finding work later in the night. But while they're still in the ring, Roman Reigns is like, he's just doing that spiel where he complains about Brock Lesnar being a lazy part-timer, and then Bobby fires back, roasting Roman Reigns, being like, Brock Lesnar doesn't show up because he doesn't want to face you again, because he's tired of beating you. And then just like last week, out comes Revival, and they're like, hey Kurt, give us another opportunity to job to these big guys. And then Kurt's like, okay, you can have the match. We went to commercial, and something that wasn't part of the like scheduled broadcast but was part of TV was Rusev and Lana. They had a really cool like Dollar General / Snickers commercial. It was pretty much showing Rusev running rampant through a Dollar General, and Lana's like, oh my god, like acting like his mother, like she was embarrassed by the way he was acting in the store. Then she ended up giving him a Snickers, and Rusev basically chilled out. We move on to the Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley versus the Revival match. Overall, the match wasn't that bad. Everyone got their moves in, and in the end, Roman and Bobby lost the match because they were arguing over who should hit like the final move for the win, and they just kept tagging each other in and out, and they were arguing. Roman was eventually rolled up, and the Revival won. Hopefully next week the Revival is going to destroy like a jobber tag team instead of losing to Roman or Bobby in one-on-one competition. I really hope that they have something for the Revival after this. We cut to Matt Hardy doing his weird but yet entertaining promo style, talking about the charade played by the B team, and then Bray Wyatt interrupts, and he just talks about how the B team got themselves somewhere where they don't want to be. Matt Hardy claims they've backed themselves into a corner, and Bray Wyatt blows out his lantern, and then cuts to the Raw Tag Team Champions making their entrance. So we think we're getting ready for the Matt Hardy versus Curtis Axel match that is scheduled. Matt Hardy's in the ring with Bray Wyatt backing him up, but then Curtis Axel appears on the screen dressed as Matt Hardy, and he does like the stuttering and like just acts like Matt Hardy on the screen, even though we all know it's not Matt Hardy, obviously. And then like before anything like big could come of that, Bo Dallas appears dressed as Bray Wyatt, complete with his kid's beach hat and a flashlight for a lantern. The promo is cut short because both men started coughing uncontrollably from the smoke in the room while they did the promo. Finally the B team came out to Matt Hardy and Curtis Axel to have their match. It was a quick match. Matt Hardy dominated most of the match. Curtis Axel won by Matt Hardy slipping off the top rope and Curtis Axel falling on top of him in a pinning position. After the match, all four men had a standoff, and the Woken Warriors just applauded the B team for their marvelous win. And it's just a weird rivalry. And besides the Revival, what other tag team can you really think of that are on Raw that come to mind immediately? There really isn't any. We go backstage to the Authors of Pain, finally back on WWE TV, and they're pushing around and bullying the backstage personnel, and then Titus Worldwide steps up to them, and Titus is like, hey, yo, that's not cool, show them some respect, they work hard. And Razor's like, you know what, whatever, dude. No thanks, and then they walk away. And then we go to commercial and come back from that. We have the Authors of Pain versus the Gibson brothers, some local jobbers. The Authors of Pain made quick work of the local jobbers. After the match, they continued to beat them up inside the ring. Titus Worldwide came down to make the save and stand up for the local jobbers. The Authors of Pain kind of just brushed off Titus Worldwide and left. Head backstage again to Kurt Angle's office this time, where Corbin is questioning Kurt's authority skills. Finn Balor comes into the office. Him and Baron Corbin start trading verbal blows. Braun Strowman is next to enter Kurt's office, and Braun's just like, hey Kurt, can you give me a tag team match? I want to make it up to Kevin Owens. He just wants to be my friend, and I've been mean to him. I want to make it up to him. And then Kurt's like, yeah, sure, why not? Hey, who do you want for an opponent? And Braun's like, what about these two? And so the match was made, Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman versus Finn Balor and Baron Corbin. Alexa Bliss comes to the ring accompanied by Mickie James. They just start talking trash on Ronda Rousey, who is not there to defend herself. She moves on to talk about how she has to face the bully Nia Jax at the upcoming pay-per-view. Natalya comes out and gets a cheap pop just for mentioning the name Ronda Rousey and that Ronda is her best friend. She tells Alexa that Ronda is going to come back to beat her up, and then and that she has a match against Natalya right now, and so they end up having a match. But before Natalya finally came down to the ring, she stopped and said she didn't come alone, and she had Nia Jax. So pretty much we were ready for the match. It was Natalya with Nia Jax in her corner versus Alexa Bliss with Mickie James in her corner. The match was nothing really special itself, just generic and basic. Nia ended up distracting Alexa in the end, and that allowed Natalya to lock in the sharpshooter. Alexa tapped almost immediately after being put in the sharpshooter, and Nia Jax had another face turn as she celebrated in the ring with Natalya. For another backstage segment with Jinder Mahal and the Singh brother taking their photos, they are interrupted by the Riot Squad, who end up taking the camera and smashing it. Jinder's like, hey, you guys gotta have world peace, you don't have to be doing this kind of stuff. They just shrug him off and walk away. Next, we have a 6-woman tag team match between Bayley, Ember Moon, and Sasha Banks versus the Riot Squad. Kurt Angle was like, hey Bayley, this is like your last chance to get along with Bayley, or else. We didn't really know what that meant, but the match itself was honestly pretty good. Everyone got in everything they needed to, and everything that needed to happen pretty much happened. The Riot Squad got a victory. Ember Moon looked strong because she wasn't really involved in much of the decisions, and Sasha got pinned. Then Bayley viciously attacked Sasha after the match. Bayley absolutely destroyed Sasha in every way, shape, and form. Sasha barely had any defense, and then once the fight got spilled to the outside, Bayley just ragdolled Sasha, throwing her into the barricades, into the steel steps, and for some reason everyone was still cheering Bayley. I don't know if they were cheering that the feud's finally going to happen, or if they were actually cheering Bayley, but either way, I'm just so glad this is happening, and hopefully Bayley stays face, because Sasha's the one that should be the heel. The next match, we have Mojo Rawley versus No Way Jose. Now, I'm really starting to like Mojo Rawley as a heel. Like, obviously I don't like him at all, but, especially as a wrestler. But you know what? Like, as a heel, he's starting to get over, in my opinion. But he basically came out, No Way Jose, this was a rematch from last week, and he just started making fun of one of the Conk Line people, and basically, like, crushed their dreams of being a superstar. He's like, hey, you suck. and you're never going to be a wrestler and you're an embarrassment to your family. Then no way, Jose, he's like, hey, come on, why don't you have a match with me? And then Mojo Rawley just punched him right in the face, sucker punch, knocked him down, and then Mojo Rawley left. Back in Kurt Angle's offices, Bayley shows up to apologize for her actions earlier in the night. Kurt Angle's like, you know what, it's your final strike. You're going to therapy. And if you don't go to therapy or counseling, if you don't go to counseling, then you will be fired. Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor and Baron Corbin. In between the entrances, we got a little package of all the bad things Braun's done to Kevin over the years, and just most recently, probably the most. This match was pretty good. Kevin Owens was like really selling the fact that he didn't trust Braun, but he was kind of starting to. The double team maneuvers were great, and they won by countout, so the other team didn't look super weak. But in the end, Kevin Owens was like, hey man, do you want to like be friends now? And Kevin was looking for a handshake, and Braun kind of just stared at him. Kevin's like, what's wrong with you? And runs away. And he's like sitting on the ramp, and then he's like, come on, Braun, what's wrong with you? And then Braun like gets out of the ring, and then Kevin just runs away. And of course, Braun chases, and then they're chasing in the backstage area. Kevin Owens ends up hiding in a locker room, and Braun Strowman just passes right by him, and Kevin Owens goes unfound in hide and seek. Main event time. Not only is the rematch from last week, but it is the Intercontinental Championship rematch. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler. Another amazing match between these two, and it just makes so much sense. As for the Intercontinental Championship, a very prestigious belt, and the Workhorse Championship. Drew McIntyre was ejected pretty early into the match, and we've known that Seth Rollins is like one of the greatest wrestlers right now after his Gauntlet performance and like really Monday Night Rollins. But this match really proved to everyone that like kind of forgot how good Dolph Ziggler truly is. This is how good Dolph Ziggler truly is. All the amazing moves, all the amazing kickouts and near falls, just everything they did in this match was just excellent. And then the finish, so that way like Drew McIntyre came out and attacked Seth Rollins, so he won by DQ, which means Dolph retained the title, and this was really the only way this could end, with both men getting a fair shake. But with that said, before the 2-on-1 beatdown got any further, guess who came out to save the day? Would it be the end of Raw without Roman Reigns standing tall? All in all, Raw was a pretty good show. All the storylines were well done, and there's nothing really much to complain about with the show, except for not seeing Elias, but maybe he's like on like a tour or something. But there wasn't really a huge waste of time during the show, besides maybe the Authors of Pain match. And the main event was pay-per-view worthy. Overall, I would give this show a 2 out of 3 stars. But with that said, hopefully you all did enjoy it. I do thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.